Hey everybody, Charlie here for Ham Talk. This episode is about tuners, the myths and the facts of a tuner. So, I had a fellow come up on a reply to episode 2 in regards to coax, and said, "Well, you have to take into account the run going to the tuner and then from the tuner to the antenna." Let's face it, a lot of hams don't have or can't afford a separate tuner, and that's fine. That's why it wasn't included in that episode. But let's get to what tuners actually do. Does an antenna tuner, how does it work and what does it do? An antenna tuner, contrary to a lot of popular belief, does absolutely nothing when it comes to the efficiency of your antenna. Does it make your antenna, does it actually match the antenna? No, it does not. What a tuner does is will change either the capacitance or the impedance from what is shown at the point of the tuner from the antenna, and adjust that at that point, at the tuner point, to make it show a 50 ohm impedance to the radio, to the transceiver. It really does nothing for the effectiveness and the efficiency of the antenna. A really good antenna is going to be a really good antenna and probably won't need a tuner. A crap antenna, no matter how well you tune it up using an external tuner, is still going to be a crap antenna. It's not going to be efficient. But it will get the power sent to it from the radio that otherwise wouldn't get there. A piece of crap antenna, let's say it's got a 5-to-1 match, is going to get very little of the transmitted power to it to radiate, because most of it's going to come back on SWR, and it's going to come back down through the feed line. But an antenna tuner will tell the radio, lie to the radio, and tell it, yeah, this is a really good antenna system. The impedance and the capacitance is perfect. And so what's going to happen is the radio then is going to send full power out to that antenna through the tuner, so that the antenna can radiate that full power, which it otherwise wouldn't get because the radio would not send that much full power to the antenna if the radio has a protective circuit in it, which will reduce the power due to a mismatch. So really, what is happening is that it is an antenna tuner in my opinion, is protecting your radio and your transceiver from a very poor mismatch, a very poor match from the antenna and feed line. It is lying to your radio to make the radio believe that, yes, this is a really good antenna, so the transceiver will send full power to the antenna system. Will it make a difference on the transmit? Yes, it will, because instead of sending 10, 20, 30 watts to the antenna, your radio will send the full 100 or whatever it is that you have going to the antenna. It'll send that full power out to it to radiate. And it will stop a good amount, if not all of, the RF coming back through it and getting back into the radio. So, do you need an antenna tuner? Most multi-band antennas will require a tuner at one point or another, especially if the bands are, especially if it's a really broad scope antenna for the different bands. A G5RB, for instance, you're going to need a tuner. However, if you have a separate antenna for each band that is cut to or is matched well, then you won't need one. If you have a fan dipole, for instance, that is trimmed correctly to the point where you're getting a good SWR on the bands that you want to work, you won't need a tuner. Is a tuner absolutely essential? No, it's not. Is it something that is it essential if it's only essential if you have an antenna system that is not tuned to the bands or frequencies that you want to work. It's plain and simple. So, what do we take away from this? We take away from this that if you have an antenna system that is poorly matched, or you're trying to work a bunch of different bands on an antenna that is not designed to do that is not matched up to do that, you're going to require a tuner. If, however, your antenna system is one that is matched to the bands that you want to work and is trimmed to it or tuned to it, you don't need a tuner. The tuner does absolutely nothing to the antenna to make it any better or worse. What it does is it lies to your radio and allows your radio to send full power to the antenna instead of the abbreviated amount of power that the radio would normally send due to a bad mismatch. Okay, so now you know what an antenna tuner does. You have a really basic knowledge of how it does it, and hopefully that helps a little. I'll go into depth in a future episode, but for now I'll say 7-3 from me, Sterling the Wonder Dog, and Ms. Tina. This is Charlie for Ham Talk. 7-3.